Hello, tubers. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. This is Lil Hipster, and I've come to you today to talk about a video that I saw yesterday. And this video was of Russell Brand on the show Morning Joe with one of the lead anchors for Msnbc, Mika Brzezinski. Apparently it's kind of a hot button issue on YouTube, and I would like to talk about it and expand on it because I'm a huge Russell Brand fan, and quite personally, I was astonished by this interview and this video. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, I have linked it to the video that I am currently making as a playlist. And I'm going to put that link, you know where, in the description box. So you just click that, watch the playlist that I've created, and you will know exactly what I'm talking about. You're going to have to forgive me today. I've already had 2 cups of coffee, so I'm a little cray-cray because I'm Mandy. And now I have tea, so more caffeine faster. Yes. So I want to just go through that interview step by step, and I just want to dissect it and just tell you what I think about it, because I thought that it was ludicrous, to be quite honest. I watched this video and I cannot even believe how unprofessional these news anchors were, and I just don't know what to say. That's not true. I do know what to say, and I'm about to say it because I just thought it was crazy. So let's grab the outline here. I got like a 3-page outline on this that I'm going to follow because I've gone through the video and I've dissected each and every little part, and you know, I have things to say for each little thing that went on. So we're going to start with the way that Mika opens this interview, and I think it's a disaster. So she starts by saying, "Joining us now, he's a really big deal. I'm told this. I'm not very pop culture. I'm sorry." And she's like looking at him as she's saying this. I can't believe that she would say something like, "I'm told he's a really big deal." Like, first of all, Russell Brand is a big deal. He's got way more fans and way more people following him than you do. You know, like, I've followed him his whole career long, ever since he was on the BBC, and this man is an intellectual. He is creative. He is hilarious. He's a big deal, and you should have done your homework and realized this. It doesn't take much to search Russell Brand on YouTube and see all the amazing works that he has participated in. You know, it doesn't take much. And this is something I'm going to talk about throughout this video, because I'm telling you, nobody in this interview did their homework. Nobody in this interview, I don't think, even ever heard Russell Brand's stand-up before, or they didn't even talk about the movies he was in. You know, nobody did their homework, because if they would have been able to talk about all of this stuff. Anyways, so that's what I'm going to be saying throughout this whole thing. Doing the homework is a big deal, you know, to me. So I can't believe she opened it that way. And the look on Russell Brand's face, they cut to him and he's just kind of like, you know, like, I can't believe she just said that, but I'm gonna let it roll off my shoulders and try to do the best I can with this. You know, that's kind of what I read from his facial expression right then. But that's not the way you open up an interview with somebody. If it were me doing that, I would have been like, good morning. Today we have a very special guest. He's an actor comedian. He hosts a show called Brand X. He's the star of movies such as Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Get Him to the Greek. He started out on the BBC, and you can see him in such works as his special on Comedy Central. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Russell Brand. You know, like, how hard would that have been? There's nothing insulting about any of that, you know. And it sets him up for a good interview because right there, you're giving him compliments. You are recognizing all the wonderful things that he's done, you know. So that's just how I think that you're supposed to set up an interview. And I am not a professional to the level that they are. You know, I just set up my phone on an overturned wicker basket here in my bathroom, you know, and I do crazy ramblings. But I know how to do this stuff far better than they do, you know, and it's just like, I can't believe that this doesn't occur to them naturally. I'm also, if you guys don't know much about me, I'm also a singer in a band, and I am on stage a lot and doing live things over a microphone a lot, and there's no way I would have ever said anything that unprofessional. So right away, her intro just kind of baffles me. I can't believe she said that. Anyways, then she goes on to saying, I'm sorry, I'm told that you're a big deal, I'm sorry, but I'm not very pop culture. For one thing, you are the anchor on Morning Joe, which is supposed to be a sort of like lighthearted news show about pop culture. It's your job to know pop culture. It's your job to, once again, do your homework, you know. You knew ahead of time you were going to have Russell Brand on the show. This should not be your first Russell Brand experience. Like I said, you should be looking up everything that he's done and everything like that, you know. She didn't do her homework, and she paid for it because she got raked over the coals pretty hard, and she deserved it. Let's see. They go into some pretty petty stuff about his wardrobe, which, I mean, Russell Brand is a very interesting looking guy, so I suppose you could touch base on that briefly. That might be interesting as a brief little tidbit. But they kind of stay on it the whole show long. Mika says something to the effect of, he already told Brian that he might want to disrobe. First of all, the audience doesn't care about that. That's a conversation that happened before the show, before the cameras were on. So you don't need to be talking about that. So I don't know. It was just kind of an uncomfortable moment, which I don't believe needed to be in there. And after she kind of takes a jab at him like that, he responds by being cool, calm, and collected, as Russell Brand always is, and he gives her a compliment. He says, you know, you look lovely today, you know. And that's just how Russell Brand is. He's high class all the way. So I was pretty entertained by that. I was like, you know, way to go. You respond by giving her a compliment. I think that's the best way you could have handled that. And then Mika gets frazzled when he says something a little bit racy about her top, and it might have been a little bit racy, but it was not inappropriate subject matter for that show. And he didn't say anything inappropriate. He just mentioned that, hey, your top's a little low cut. P.S. You're leaning over into my personal space, trying to do something really awkward because you're like trying to drag a desk into place, on live television. So, so he makes a little funny comment about that, and then immediately she gets really uncomfortable. And like I said, if you would have done your homework, you would have known that Russell Brand makes kind of racy comments from time to time. And his banter is flirty, and it's edgy, and it pushes the envelope. So you need to be prepared for him to say something like that on your show. But she doesn't know Russell Brand from Adam, so she wasn't prepared for that. So it's no wonder she became uncomfortable immediately. Let's see. On to the next thing. The other female co-anchor on the show kind of chimes in, and she's like, so your tour is called the Messiah Complex because we're finally sort of getting into promoting his tour, which is the whole purpose of the interview anyway. And he says, yes, correct. And she says, do you have a Messiah complex? And he just laughs because, first of all, I think that's kind of a rude question to ask somebody because you're implying that they are somehow arrogant, on television. And it's rude. I wouldn't have asked it, and so she says, do you have a Messiah complex? And he just kind of laughs, and he's like, well, no, because that is actually a mental disorder. And if I had a mental disorder, I would probably not be successful and on television. I would just imagine that that's, what he's thinking. And he actually says, I would hope that I am here on a professional, completely sane basis, and yeah, and so he says it's a mental illness, and then she's like, do you have it? And he's like, no, I am a professional and I'm here to promote my tour. It's just, it's the wrong question to ask completely. Let's see, she asks him about his comedy tour and then makes the assumption that it's too serious. And this is once again Mika Brzezinski who asks him that because she asks him, your comedy tour, Messiah Complex, it starts off in Abu Dhabi, is that right? And, then you think, okay, here, now we're getting down to the real interview. Now we're getting down to the nitty gritty. So he explains, yes, it starts off in Abu Dhabi. I'll be touring throughout the Middle East and other countries in the world. And I'm talking about religious and spiritual leaders. And he kind of goes into the subject matter of his show. And it's kind of political. Russell Brand's stuff very often deals with political, very highbrow subject matter. And she could have taken it to a whole new intellectual level, but instead she decides to cut him at the knee after he gets done explaining all of that and kind of belittle him by saying, oh, that sounds, too serious, it doesn't sound like comedy. I'm paraphrasing what she said. But, yeah, and I'm just like, that's not the way that you promote his tour. He's a comedian. Of course you can expect him to be funny about it, and he says in retort to that, he was kind of like, well, I'm a comedian, so I'm going to be making jokes about it, so I'm going to make it funny, and it's just like, he shouldn't have to say that. He's a very well-known comedian, and he shouldn't have to tell you that he's going to be funny on his tour. It should just be assumed, and you shouldn't be making comments like that to insinuate that maybe his tour might be too serious and not funny, because that's not what promoting his tour is about. He's trying to get people to like come out and see him, you know, and you don't want to distract people from that. You don't want to discourage them from coming to see his tour. You want to promote it and be excited about it and tell them how funny it's going to be, because it is going to be very hilarious, I'm sure. And the thing that I really enjoy about Russell Brand is that his comedy is always intellectual, always smart, and he just it's almost like he raises you to a higher IQ level by just doing his comedy and performing it for you. Because I mean, I could listen to the man all day. His vocabulary is just exquisite, you know, and I learn something new every time he comes out with a new comedy bit, because he's so intellectual and he incorporates it into his comedy. So that's what I have to say about that. And then the other female co-anchor once again steps out of line when she says, "Can we get, you know, just a 30-second sample of your show?" And he's just kind of like, "Well, no, because you have to come to the show in order to see that." And once again, I think that that's out of line too, because don't ask him to perform his material when his material is of value. And if he felt like performing some of his material, he would have told you beforehand, and you would have orchestrated that beforehand, you know. But that wasn't what he was there to do. And personally, I don't think he should be asked to do that, because if people want to see his show, they should buy tickets and they should come see it. And then when it comes out on Comedy Central or something like that, or it's syndicated in other areas, people should watch it, you know. So yeah, that's just an inappropriate question. And then what I think is amazing is he gives an opportunity to kind of change the subject and give the anchors sort of a moment to get their shit together. When he comments on the happenings in the newsroom, he looks over there and he's like, "Hey, what are those people doing? You know, they're at the computer. You know, I'm curious about this." And he makes it funny. He does a little bit about it, you know. But still, they still come back and they drop the ball. The man co-anchor there, he asks a serious question about what Russell Brand likes doing the best. Does he like television or stand-up or doing movies the most? Which is a great question. Way to go for you. You actually broke through and asked him something intellectual. And Russell Brand gives an intellectual answer. And then after that, once again, Russell Brand gets kind of cut at the knee with a prejudiced comment about his accent. Because this man, Brian, the co-anchor who asked this question, he was just kind of like, "Now, when I hear you on the radio, I can't understand a single word you have to say, but I can understand you when I'm talking to you face to face." And Russell Brand just kind of looks at him like, "You can't be serious. It's not like I'm speaking a different language here. I'm speaking English, you know." And here's the thing. if you're going to have Russell Brand on your show and you know that you have problems understanding his accent, then you better get on YouTube and listen to his accent over and over and over again so that you become acclimated to it, and so that you can talk about his comedy and you can say, oh, I thought it was hilarious when you talked about this, this, and this. You don't go on live television and be like, I have a hard time understanding anything you have to say because I'm from America and I don't understand British accents. You know, it's just silly. I don't have any problem hearing what he has to say, even if it's over the radio or something. You know why? Because I listen to a lot of Russell Brand, and I am familiar with the way that he speaks. And I think he has a beautiful accent, so there. Let's see. Russell Brand calls them out on their bad manners, I think, and I think it's really interesting that they just instantly get uncomfortable, you know, because he's saying things like, I'm sitting right here in the room. You can address me by my name. You don't have to talk about me as if I'm not here, you know, because they've been pretty much rude to him this whole interview, you know, and he was absolutely right. It is correct manners to address someone by their name, you know. And he kind of offers up some more compliments to this Mika woman because she had mentioned she was getting nervous, and he was like, you don't have to worry, you don't have to be nervous, you know, you're a lovely woman. And you have a wonderful job, so what is there to be nervous about? So here in the midst of everything, he's still trying to, you know, like build her up, you know, and they still can't get their shit together. They're all just still a loose cannon, you know? So at this point, which I love this about Russell Brand, he decides to take the reins. And he decides to be like, listen here, okay, I'm going to conduct my own interview. This is the name of my tour. It's starting in August, and you can get tickets here, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And then he takes, you know, current issues and talks about them, you know, and he's just setting an example, like, this is what you should be doing. It's not that hard, you know. So I not only did I think that was hilarious, but I thought it was brilliant. Okay. So they then, after that, they're still stammering, and they bring up his outfit yet again. And by this time, Russell Brand has had enough about, you know, talking about his crazy appearance, you know, because, well, not to say that he has a crazy appearance, because I don't think he does. I think he looks great. But it's not something to dwell on. He's got more important stuff going on than that. He's got a world tour coming up. He doesn't want to talk about the way he keeps his shirt buttoned down, you know, and his necklaces and his long hair. He doesn't want to talk about that. He wants to talk about his tour, and he wants to talk about all the works that he's been in, you know, so that he can promote and things like that. So he's just kind of getting frustrated by this point, but keeping a cool head, which I admire about Russell Brand. And then after he promotes his tour, he just kind of goes for broke. And he's like, I am done with these people. And he calls Mika a shaft grabber, which I will let you watch the video so that you can, you know, see what he's referencing there. But he embarrasses her pretty hardcore because he had already promoted his stuff. These people had already been really rude to him, so he just went for broke, you know, which I think is A-okay. And then the anchors go on with more what I like to call anti-promo, because they continue to downgrade his show. And I'm not sure that they're aware of it by saying things like this, but one of the women says, she's just laughing uncomfortably, you know, and in the midst of it, she says, we don't even need to see the tour now, you know, like, she said that. And I'm like, no, the man is here to promote his tour. You need to watch your words. You need to not be saying things like, oh, we don't even need to see the tour anymore because we got enough of him on the morning show. No, you should always be talking about how you want to go see the tour. I mean, personally, I would have been like, I know I'm getting tickets. How about you guys? You know, things like that. But you don't need to be saying words like that. So anyways, I am going to show my broadcasting chops right now, and I am going to give you a little bit about what I would have said had I been an anchor on that show. Okay, so we're talking about Russell Brand. He has a tour that's going to be starting in August called the Messiah Complex. If you want tickets, you can go to russellbrand.tv for tickets. You can also follow him on Facebook, which I'm doing, and I love following him on Facebook. He's very entertaining, so I recommend that you do that. I recommend that you also follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/littlehipster. You can also follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. And please subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you as a member of the Love Train. Woo woo! And that's about it. I doubt Russell Brand will ever see this, but if you ever do, God bless you, Russell Brand. If you ever want to promote anything, you can come on my show because we'll promote stuff together. I don't have very many subscribers, only like 150 or so, but I think that those people on the Love Train, as I like to call it, will be glad to watch you. So there you go. I love you, Russell Brand. I hope that all of your other interviews go wonderfully from here on out and that you don't ever get treated with this disrespect again. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I know this is a really long video, but it meant a lot to me that I said something about it. So yes, please like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to eat your fruits and vegetables. Bye-bye.